Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. A little bit of oddness today rather than technology. I thought I'd just um, show a cassette that I received in probably around about 1984 when there used to be a show called The Witch Computer Show. It doesn't exist anymore, but that was when there was hundreds of different kinds of minis and micros and whatever. And CPM was king, really before Windows took a real hold. So this audio recording is a guy called James Burke, very famous man in British television around the time, and he's talking us through an adventure, an action adventure of people trying to steal Norsk data machines. Norsk don't exist anymore. It's not a machine I ever got to work on, though I would have quite enjoyed it from what I've read about them in subsequent times. But no, well gone now. It's just Windows, Linux, and IBM mainframes now. So I hope you enjoy this. It's about 20 minutes. It's a bit silly stuff, really. Lionel is the protagonist. He's chasing down the computers. So sit back and enjoy. Cheers now.
Norsk Data presents Talking Computers with James Burke.
Hello, I'm James Burke, and I'm not Norwegian, but I want to talk to you about a remarkable computer company which is. Norway, I can almost hear you saying. Isn't that the land of bottomless fjords, pickled herring, and wood-burning stoves? How come they're into computers? Well, the answer is really very simple. Why not? Because a few years ago, a group of enterprising Norwegian electronics engineers sat down and said, hey, these computers we're using are all very well up to a point, but they're so dumb. There's no way they can be upgraded without dumping the software and starting again. You've got to be a specialist to gain access to the data. They're not interactive. They're simply not versatile enough. Not only that, they're too big and ugly. Let's make our own. And let's make them bright pink or purple. No, better still, orange. So they did. But in doing so, they made a lot of other people rather green.
These people, indeed, they are becoming a big problem. I do a deal with a nice bankrupt computer company, buy up all the nice big boxes with the punch cards, eh? On the tape, and the wheels spinning, very pretty. But nobody wants to buy them. Me, a well-respected family man. No one will do business with me. I make good offers, but they all refuse. They go to buy computers from some Norwegians. It's a big shame. So, you, Lionel.
Yes, sir.
I want you to find out about them for me. I want you to spy a little. That's your specialty, eh?
That's me, sir. Peeping services at your service.
Peeping, yes. You let me know how they succeed in Britain when my lovely Capo di Monte computers should be selling like hot pizzas.
Gosh, sir. What a frightfully spiffing mission.
Spiffing? What's this spiffing?
Well, it's what we British say when something's terribly, awfully exciting and good.
Oh, no wonder you do so bad in the World Cup.
Pardon, sir?
Never mind. Just find me the answer to my Norsk data problem.
Perhaps you should ask one of your Capo di Monte computers, sir.
Lionel, you want to join my second cousins in the Foundation's the new Autostrada?
On my way, sir.
Hey, watch out for the swimming pool. That's the one with the piranha in it. See? I knew you could move fast if you wanted to.
Well, just what is it that Norsk Data have achieved that so many other companies would love to copy? Their personality's worth considering in the first place. They're the kind of company that likes to see things from the user's point of view. And with that attitude, they've achieved a very impressive blue-chip customer base in Europe and North America. Obviously, there's no such thing as a standard user, so Norsk Data's philosophy has been to build and provide a range of highly versatile equipment which is as flexible as possible. It may look small, no bigger than a fridge freezer, but it's mighty powerful in the tasks it can perform. And again, thanks to a simplification of systems, it's accessible to far more people than are usually able to talk to their company's computer. It's the Norwegian way. Why put up a barrier of mystique and gobbledygook where none need exist? Look at the type of people who work with Norsk data. Sure, your first contact will be a salesman, but here's the difference. He's also a businessman and a computer specialist, as well as a salesman. Then, if you want to talk to a software specialist, it can be arranged just like that. No stalling, no isolation. And it was Norsk data, with the needs of the user very much in mind, that sat down and said, look, a couple of years ago, we installed a 16-bit machine for a customer. It's worked well, helped him to grow and expand the business. In fact, he's grown right out of it. He needs to upgrade. But he's also spent 3 years developing his software system. Why is it that no computer company can provide a single operating system for someone progressing from 16-bit to 32-bit machines? So, Norsk data answered the problem. It's attitudes and advances like that which have enabled Norsk data to become such a significant and well-respected force in the international computer market.
Pronto? Yeah, I mean, hello.
Good morning, sir. It's Lionel.
Do you know it's 2 o'clock in the morning?
Gosh, it's still bright sunshine here.
And where is here?
Norway, sir. I thought I'd better report on my progress.
And?
Oh, that's it, sir. I've got to Bergen.
I know you've got to begin. But when?
Sir?
It's Britain I want to know about. Now go to London. Never mind Norway.
But what if I can't afford the fare, sir?
Oh, Mamma Mia.
Did you notice my little joke, sir?
I noticed something. I wouldn't have called it a joke.
Sorry, sir.
Lionel, I think this job is getting too big for you to handle on your own. I am sending my top specialist to work with you. But I am warning you, this is your last chance. My contracts... I mean, my contacts are everywhere. I am watching you carefully. One mistake, finito. Poof.
Oh, really, sir? That's a terrible slur on my character.
You will be met at the Sheraton Heathrow tomorrow.
Well, how would you like that pair on your team? Someone once described a computer as the most expensive idiot in the world. Probably quite accurate. After all, it's the quality of the software that proves the hardware's worth. At Norsk data, twice as much energy goes into designing software as the hardware itself. And there have been a significant number of Norsk data firsts in software development. One concept which looks at all facets of commercial computing is their latest introduction, Orbis. Orbis is a name given to a suite of software tools designed by ND which enable all users, trained or not, to have access to their computer. Data processing specialists can enjoy the whole flexibility and versatility of the equipment. Financial specialists or business managers can use the data stored within the computer to a pretty sophisticated level. And then general managers and other employees can use faster, higher quality information for decision making without having to stand in line at a computer center. It's the promise and principle of computers come true at last. Machines which really do work for the people and cut down on the tedious tasks. So just what is available under the Orbis banner? Access, to begin with. Norsk Data's very own query by example software. It's been developed in such a way that anybody can learn the principles in just 2 or 3 hours. Just imagine you've never seen a computer before, let alone tried to speak to one. There's a keyboard in front of you, a bit like a typewriter, but with a few more buttons. And a VDU screen. Oh, sorry, that's a television screen. I forgot we said you'd never met a computer before. Now, the computer has massive amounts of stored information, and you want to use it. You want to insert some information, delete something else, inspect a file, update something. Well, go ahead. After just an hour or so's instruction, you'll be sufficiently adept at handling the keyboard and giving simple, logical instructions. It's query by example in its most flexible form that even allows for the easy construction of new types of information. So in just a couple of hours, you too can be your own computer specialist, instructing, defining, researching, updating, all in straightforward, non-technical language.
I anticipate an assignational confrontation with a person of unquantifiable identity with whom, in instructional terms, my duties are of a cooperational nature. And I don't know who the dude is. Is it you?
Golly, I hope so.
Oh, Mr. Cannelloni told me you'd be pretty conspicuous, identification-wise.
Is that a compliment?
I wouldn't count on it, Buster.
Well, Mr. Cannelloni said he'd send a specialist. But I wasn't expecting a woman.
Got something against my sex?
Oh, absolutely not. But the job could be dangerous.
Nothing to it. Just check out Norsk data. Drain their memory banks and feed the data back to Mr. Cannelloni. Mind you, whether his Capo de Monte computers can cope is another question. You know they run on gas.
Is that natural?
No, propane, dummy. Now let's get out of here.
May I help you with your bags?
You making derogatory remarks about my figure, kid?
Heavens, no!
Come on, let's get on with the job. I got directions to the target's think tank in the country, Newberry or someplace. You know where that is?
Absolutely. This way. By the by, we haven't been introduced. I'm Lionel Spinetinkle. How do you do?
Charmed, I'm sure.
And you?
Me? I'm Kitty Galore.
Just a final point on access, and one that should deter those two dubious characters. Norsk Data has always been a very security-conscious organization. And even though access makes computer communication delightfully simple, there are passwords and security levels to overcome which stop prying eyes from seeing what a customer doesn't want them to see. Okay, on to another piece of Norwegian logic. Norsk Data's operating system. It's called Sintran, and with all due modesty, Norsk Data describe it as one of the very best operating systems in the world. It runs on the 16-bit word length of the ND100 series. It runs on the 32-bit word length of the ND500, and it runs on Norsk Data's satellites too. As a system, it's ideal for real-time, time-sharing, and batch processing. And thanks to a simple English command language, it is very easy to use. Different user and system programs can be run concurrently, and up to 64 time-sharing terminals can be supplied simultaneously, along with real-time processes, local and remote batch tasks. The benefits and advantages run on and on. But I've got a feeling that we're running out of time on this side of the cassette, so I'll see you on side two. Wonder what's going to happen to Kitty and Lionel.
Here we are. Newberry.
Yeah, so what's ticking?
Gosh, I thought it was rude to ask. Don't suppose it's Mr. Cannelloni carrying out his promise to you? Do you think I've offended him?
You may have. I haven't.
I say, wait for me!
Now, what were we talking about before we were so rudely interrupted? Software. With a logic and thoroughness which is typically Scandinavian, Norsk Data has developed a series of software tools under the Orbis title. CBAS is one that dates from 1973 and was the first database system to be implemented on a mini-computer. It follows the Codicil International Standard. And notice, that's with an IS, not an ICE, has been designed for complete information and word processing systems. It's also an ideal way of storing text information and then triggering off retrieval by firing keywords at the computer. If the subjects are in the memory, you can reach them. Mercure is Norsk Data's package designed for financial modeling, ideal for accountants, managers, and anyone with large budgets to control. Focus sounds like it should introduce a visual subject, and that's just what this Norsk Data software system is. It involves picture forming on VDU screens, presenting information in forms. The screen is easy to create, compile, file, update, retrieve, or delete. And there's no programming needed. Simple as that. Just focus. TPS is the Transaction Processing System, which is a Syntran development allowing for interaction of computers within a network and handling advanced operations. It's a sophisticated software tool which is making huge advances in systems demanding heavy processing tasks. It controls the system overall. It commands the stopping, restarting, and recovery of a transaction system using its logging techniques. If you think you've heard anything unique so far, well, you probably have. But this next high-level software tool is just that. It's called Unique. And your contract programming friends will be delighted to hear that it makes their jobs much, much easier. The system designer does all the work at high level instead, defining the input screens and the database with the unique system linking the two. Just specify where the data comes from on the screen, what it is, and where it goes onto the disk, and there is no need to write COBOL programs to achieve the result. It's simple, it's a huge advance, and it works. What would our intrepid pair make of that?
Oh, come on, damn it.
Well, it's difficult with all these bandages and the plaster cast.
Complaints. Come on. We're in Strawberry Hill House at last. Let's get what we can from Mr. Cannelloni.
But it's still office hours.
I know these computer people. Down to the bacon arms for lunch and asleep all the afternoon. This'll be a breeze. Good afternoon. May I help you? Do you have an appointment?
Well...
You look a trifle hurt. Would you like to sit down?
Oh, thank you. Oh! Sorry.
Now, who have you come to see?
We've come to see Mr. Norsk.
Or Mr. Data. You wouldn't have anything to do with Mr. Cannelloni, would you? We've been warned to expect you. I think I'll just powder my nose. And I think I'll call one of our biggest and strongest salesmen.
Oh, dear.
It's not really his day, is it? Now, while they're sorting him out, shall we see what benefits the Norsk Data hardware can bring? The first surprise is that you don't get much for your money. The computers are remarkably compact, much smaller than most other units that claim to perform similar tasks. Not only that, but in economy terms, Norsk Data computers use less power. They run off normal 13-amp electricity. Just plug them into the wall. You can get at them easily. And for that matter, I don't know why Mr. Cannelloni and his cronies are making such a fuss about getting their hands on ND equipment. Service engineers can do it all the time. There's easy access, front and back of the cabinets. And within the Norsk Data range, the elements are infinitely variable to match just what the user needs. And to match his budget, too. Building networks is easy. Remember, it's all using the same software. And upgrading is just as straightforward. Maybe the best way of demonstrating Norsk Data's versatility is by looking at one recent project which involved 15 ND100 computers and one ND500.
Please, can you speak more slowly so I can take notes for Mr. Cannelloni?
Where did he come from? Anyway, the European community has this big research program, Fusion Energy for the Power Stations of the Future. It's called Joint European Torus, JET for short. The computers are to be used for control and data acquisition, communications, and storage of millions of items about the conditions and results of each experimental pulse. The computers are arranged in a double-star network to provide fast communications and resilience. The whole system, and the experiment itself, is controlled from the main consoles in one of the most advanced control rooms yet built. Norsk Data has provided the computers with the response and power to match the needs of this massive project. And the communication software, a key part of the project, was specified at very high performance level. In the event, this was met using Norsk Data's communications products. As I think I said at the beginning, the Norwegian way of working is rather different from most others in its openness and consideration towards the needs of the user. A very refreshing attitude these days. Hello, who are you?
I'm Kitty Galore. Hand over the script.
Well, if you really want it. here you are. But you don't seem to realize if you and Mr. Cannelloni are so desperate to know about Norsk data, all you have to do is ask.
You mean they don't mind people knowing about them?
Not at all.
Wow. Well, I hardly know where to start.
Well, look, why don't you forget all about Mr. Cannelloni and Lionel, how's his leg, by the way, and come and have dinner with me. I'll tell you all you want to know about Norsk data. It's a fascinating story, one of the great successes in the industry, you know. And I've just realized their computers match your eyes. A nice, bright orange.
Boy, you smooth-talking British are all the same.
Oh, sorry, out there, are you still listening? Well, there's really only one thing more for me to say. If you'd like more information, talk to Norsk data. Now, I know a lovely little restaurant near here, Scandinavian, in fact.
Oh, my favorite.
Yes, I think you'll
love
enjoy
that
it.
smorgasbord.
They've got 43 different kinds of pickled herring.